Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be walking through the Unity UI system here and explaining how all of these tabs work. So first of all, you might notice that Unity is pretty much like a panel system. There's just a bunch of panels and you can add pretty much whatever you want. So for example, in this hierarchy browser there, you can add a tab if you want. And you can also do this here or here or here or whatever you want. So you can customize your layout to whatever your preferences are. So I'm going to be walking through what all of these are. So first of all, this is your file tab. Here you can make new scenes, save scenes, and change your build settings. So for example, when you want to build for a platform, you press build settings, you add your scene, and you select your platform here. And you can also go in here and start messing around with a lot of options, but it's not important for now. So mainly you're going to be using this for saving pretty much, unless you're actually building it. The next one here is the edit system. I don't use this tab much. It mainly contains the places for you to change settings, such as your preferences or project settings. So it could be input, time, and physics and all that. The most important ones are going to be the assets tab. So here there's an important tab here called create, where you can create new C# scripts, shaders, testing scripts, playables, materials, all kinds of things. This can also be accessed from simply right-clicking here, and you'll see the same tab here. This is the way I usually do this. Next one is the game objects tab. So here there's a couple of presets for you. So for example, in the 3D objects panel here, you can add all kinds of geometric shapes, like a cube, for example. It will go right into your editor there, and then here you can go to 3D mode, and you see there's a cube. Next one is the 2D one. So you can add a sprite. That's gonna be the most usual one. I'll probably be using this one a lot. And then there's some other ones here that we're not going to care about, just so as long as you know that here you can add all your presets. Next one is the components. You don't really have to care about this one, because who adds components this way anyway? Usually what you do is you press a game object, and then you press this add component button, and you search for whatever you want in this little hierarchy here. Alternatively, if you're adding one of your own scripts, you just drag and drop it on like that. And you can also remove it from here. Next one is the Windows tab. This is pretty much the same as this one, except it contains some additional ones, like the asset store, the animator, and all those things. So if you ever lose your tabs, you can go in here and find them again. Next tab here is the layouts. We're actually going to be playing around with this one a little bit so that we have the same layout, so you don't get confused. Yeah, very soon. And then, okay, so the most important ones here is that this is your scene hierarchy. This is everything that is in your current scene that is visible in your game. So for example, here I have a game object which contains a test script at position 0, 0, as you can see here. So you can't actually see this guy because it doesn't have any kind of renderer. We could, for example, give it a mesh renderer and a mesh filter, and just make it a cube. And boom, you have a cube, for example. You could do that, but you're never going to do that, don't worry. So yeah, this is your scene hierarchy. You're going to be using this a lot. This is everything that is in your game. This right here is your scene view. This is where you can see your scene and interact with all the objects in your scene. So for example, if you have a cube object here, you can actually select it and drag it around, and you can see that the variables here are changing. So you can drag it on like this. You can also do Control-C, Control-V for copying. You can also hold V to snap. I know there's a lot, but we're going to be going through this quite a bit. Yeah, so that's your scene view. You can select anything that is in your scene, granted it's visible, and modify them in this inspector panel here. The next view is the game view. This is where you can actually see how the game would look like on different resolutions. So you could, for example, go to a standalone, this resolution here, and this is how your game would look like currently. You can go to some presets. So you see I have some presets here, different aspect ratios and displays. So you see there's no camera for display 2. And then last is the project hierarchy browser. So this is your asset root folder. This is where you're going to be adding most of your things. So what I usually do when I set up my project is I have a scripts folder, I have a prefabs folder, and whatever folders I will have next. And a scenes folder. So what I will do is I will take my scene, I will put it in there, I'll take this one and drag it in there. So now you have a little bit of a neater hierarchy here. Next up, yeah, now you can see all of these guys here, so you can just navigate your folder structure. Next here is the consoles tab. This is where you can see any log outputs. It's going to be really useful when you're making a game or an application or whatever, because you're going to see your log messages appear here, or any errors or warnings, whatever it is. Yeah, that's pretty much it for like the main viewer. There's one more thing, the inspector. So you're gonna see you have an inspector here, and currently it's empty. Whenever you select an object, you can inspect all the properties that belong to this object. So for example, there's a transform, which is the space where it is in the world. So for example, I could add it to 0, 0, 0 here. So that's gonna be its position now. I'm gonna go to 3D view so it's easier to see. I could rotate it on the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis, and I can also scale it individually on all the axes as well. So that's going to be also very useful whenever we're playing around with objects. Okay, so lastly, I want to set up our environment so that you have all the necessary tools readily available for you. So the first thing you'll do is you'll see this little panel here. Go to Add tab and add animation. Next, go to the Window tab because it's not visible down there, and add the animator. Just drag it on there. So now you have these tabs. Next up, the inspector. Where are you? Okay, you can probably just do like this. Inspector. Oops, sorry, I meant profiler. There we go. You can also just right click and delete these tabs. So we're not going to be using all these tabs for now, but I thought it would be nice to just have the same kind of setup here. So when your thing looks like this, you're set, you're ready, and you can go to the next video.